Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving into something massive, yet totally invisible to most of us. You know, when we see a flashy headline about some miracle drug or a groundbreaking medical device, we really stop to think about the giant global data machinery churning away in the background to actually verify that science. So let's unpack exactly how that machinery works to keep global research honest. The World Health Organization draws a hard line in the sand right from the get-go. They say registering trials isn't just bureaucratic paperwork. It is a scientific, ethical, and moral responsibility. And they're spot on, right? Human lives literally depend on this transparency. It's really the only way we can genuinely build and maintain public trust in modern medicine. So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the fight for transparency, the WHO Registry Network, the 6 pillars of trial standards, the trial registration data set, tracking the global puzzle, and finally, the future of medical trust. All right, let's jump right in.
Section 1. The Fight for Transparency.
Okay, so the absolute gold standard in medical research is prospective registration. That means getting the trial strictly on the books before a single patient is ever recruited. Now, retrospective registration, which is filing the paperwork after patient enrollment begins, well, that's still technically allowed because, frankly, late data is better than no data at all. Usually it's just due to simple administrative hiccups. But registries are required to actively flag these late records. It basically acts as a big warning label, letting everyone know, hey, this data wasn't tracked properly from day one. And here's a massive rule. Transparency has to be permanent. The WHO dictates that once a trial gets a registration number, it can never, ever be deleted. I mean, imagine a scenario where a pharmaceutical company could just hit delete on a clinical trial that showed their highly anticipated new drug was a total bust. No way. This permanence prevents exactly that kind of manipulation. Even if a trial turns out to be completely bogus, the record stays. Moving on to Section 2, the WHO Registry Network. Back in 2006, the WHO launched the International Clinical Trials Registry Platform, or the ICTRP. Honestly, before this system existed, finding trial data was a total nightmare. Researchers were hunting through dozens of completely disconnected databases scattered all over the globe. The ICTRP united all of that, creating one single, accessible search portal. Now, patients, families, and scientists can see exactly what's happening worldwide from one centralized spot. You can kind of think of this network like a giant hub-and-spoke system. Primary registries are your core hubs. They have to have national or regional government backing, they must operate completely not-for-profit, and they have to be open to the public. Then you have partner registries, which are the spokes. These might focus exclusively on something like cancer research, or maybe cover just a single hospital. But to play in this ecosystem, they legally have to partner with a primary registry to feed their data upward into the broader WHO network.
Section 3. 6 pillars of trial standards.
You can't just throw up a website and call yourself a registry. To join the WHO network, an organization has to stand firmly on 6 really rigorous pillars: content, quality and validity, accessibility, unambiguous identification, technical capacity, and administration and governance. These aren't just polite suggestions, folks. They are strict minimum standards guaranteeing that the data is ironclad and completely trustworthy. This strict framework demands some intense, ongoing quality control. We're talking routine checks for completeness and automated database logic rules to catch human errors the second they're submitted. But the absolute crown jewel of this system? The publicly accessible audit trails. If a researcher alters even a single data point, the system tracks exactly who changed it, what they changed, and precisely when they did it. There are absolutely no secret edits in global medicine. And that brings us to a core democratic principle of the WHO standards: accessibility. Registries have to be free, electronically searchable, and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This data cannot be hidden behind some expensive paywall or restricted to elite institutions. It totally levels the playing field. It empowers a rural doctor in the exact same way it empowers a top-tier university researcher. Section 4. The Trial Registration Dataset. So, what exactly goes into one of these records? It is exactly 24 specific data items. This is called the Trial Registration Dataset, or TRDS, and it's an all-or-nothing deal. If a submission is missing even one piece of meaningful data out of those 24 items, it completely fails international transparency requirements. These 24 items basically form the DNA of the study's public profile. We're talking highlights like identifying the primary sponsor, mapping out the key inclusion and exclusion criteria for participants, and, crucially, demanding summary results. Yep, within 12 months of finishing, trials have to post those results. They even have to declare a detailed data sharing plan, letting the world know if they're going to let other scientists review their de-identified participant data to help accelerate future cures.
Now, all this massive bureaucratic burden, it rests squarely on the shoulders of one specific person, the responsible registrant. The registry doesn't just accept some generic company email address. Oh no, they verify that this is a real, breathing human being with a physical postal address attached to a legitimate institution. This person is legally and ethically on the hook for keeping the data totally accurate and up to date as the research moves forward.
Section 5. Tracking the global puzzle. Now I want to ask you a massive logistical question. If a major pharmaceutical trial takes place across 10 different countries, it might be legally required to register in 10 different national databases. So how on earth do we prevent that exact same data from duplicating and tricking the medical community into thinking there are 10 separate trials when there's actually just one?
Well, the WHO came up with a pretty elegant solution to this, the Universal Trial Number, or UTN. Think of this like the trial's permanent global passport, or a unique ID tag. No matter how many local or regional registries a trial gets submitted to, this single UTN remains attached to its core identity, securely linking every country's data back to one master study.
Researchers can effectively map the global footprint of a study by combining that UTN with secondary local identifiers from other nations. And check out this fascinating rule. If duplicate records are accidentally created in the same registry, they are never deleted. Instead, they're retrospectively linked together. Why? Because deleting data breaks that sacred audit trail. The WHO ensures that even administrative mistakes remain perfectly transparent. Finally, Section 6, the future of medical trust. Let's bring this all back to that strict ethical mandate from the WHO. These 24 data items and the 6 structural pillars, they aren't just busy work. They are the literal foundation of medical accountability. Without this uncompromising framework, positive trial results could be endlessly hyped up to sell drugs, while negative or potentially dangerous results could just be buried forever. So I'll leave you with this final thought to consider about the future of global medicine. This invisible infrastructure exists to ensure that when your doctor prescribes a treatment, the science backing it is open, verified, and permanent. But the whole system only protects us if it's universally enforced. Because ultimately, if clinical trial data isn't visible to the world, can we truly trust the science? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning the data behind the headlines.